It's TMNT time! Hello, welcome to another figure review. Today we're going to have a look at the Super 7 TMNT Ultimates Wave 2 Mutagen Man! Last, but certainly not least, the last entry of Wave 2. We've seen the box, it has the nice slider with the TMNT logo. You got the Mutagen Man, has its own little symbol in the front. Slide that out, and you got your second part of the box. This guy is massive, just like Bebop. I'm so excited about this one because there's a lot of good stuff that goes into it. Again, box has like the brick stone instead, kind of where the figure bursts out of it, just like we had in the original toys. Got the Turtles logo, got a little bit of bio in the back, and the window box with the figure in it. But I don't want to look at the figure from the window. Let's go! We have another big boy on our hands. How big? Now that's what I'm here to tell you. He stands at about 18 centimeters to the top of his... Do I even call it a hat? Bubble. His window shield, whatever. 7 and 1 inches tall. For your size comparisons, we got Jolter, the original Playmates Mutagen Man, Super 7 Bebop, Super 7 Shredder, Super 7 Leonardo, and a group shot of the complete Wave 2 and Darkseid. For your other comparison, we got Mutagen Man from the original Playmates line, and let me tell you, they followed it to the T. First things first, you got the guts, the brain, and the skull with the eyes poking out in his glass case, which they followed very nicely. There's obviously a lot more detail about the sculpt. The idea is the exact same. Then we got in the back, you got the tanks with some added gold buttons and whatnot. Obviously the paint job pops a lot more because of the metallic. The rest of the mold is exactly the same. As I was saying, you have this up here with the tube that is going down. However, you could take it out with this one. You cannot take the tube out with this one. You can still open up his head thingy and fill it up with water if you want to. Got the flesh and a lot of detail. Now, weirdly enough, it seems like the old one has more detail in the sculpt. What happened there? Weirdly enough, same on this side. Well, they did that a lot better. Added some more detail there. This one even had painted fingernails. That's impressive. Down to the legs, which are always kind of in a crouching position a little bit, which is an issue with the new one. I say issue, but again, I'll get to that once we have a look at the articulation. There you have your side-by-side comparison with the old one. It still follows it very much and does a great job at replicating it. Now, replicating is one thing, but this is the ultimate line. Is it ultimately better? Yes, of course, but it's also more expensive. So, now, having a look at the detail, again, I'm gonna have a quick look at all the detail that's inside of his window bubble, excuse me. Now, the only thing that kind of bothers me is how they connected it inside. You have these strings, these peg and peg holes, which are on like the lower parts over here and the upper parts. It's kind of a bit annoying, but that's the way they connected it so it doesn't fall apart. And I guess, you know, stability is very important, so I'm not hating on it. I just find it kind of weird. Also have like the window boobs with the tubes going into his, well, he doesn't really have nipples anymore. Then on the back, as I already mentioned, there's a lot more detailed paint job, all the little bolts that go into his armor. The gold metallic looks very nice. It looks very clean, as like with all of these. Really good on the paint job, never had any problem with that. I feel like it really pops on the blue on top of everything. And also with this figure, they hide the articulation fairly well, which we'll have a look at in a second. Obviously, there's all the molten flesh going off of his body. It looks very disgusting, it looks very gruesome. And to think, they were selling that as a toy back in the day. You couldn't even do that these days. Also, the version of Mutagen Man in the show looked a lot less menacing, looked a lot less disgusting. He didn't have guts in his entire body, and there was some flesh and stuff, but not this gruesome. Lower part over here is not metallic, which is good. Again, I like the different tones of it. So that really brings out the metallic even more, and it looks great. Now for the articulation, some sacrifices had to be made, obviously, but I still think they did a bang-up job. You can rotate this. This is just packed in. You can also take it off. If you want to fill it up with water and put some garbage in it, I can't. There you go. There you got that. You can play around. The action feature is still intact if you care about that. Got the big hinge in the shoulder, goes up and rotates all the way around. Obviously is blocked by the mold. You cannot bring it all the way down on both sides. Then you got another hinge in the elbow, which like I'm saying, is nicely hidden, is also packed in straight, so you can rotate this. Swivel it all the way around for your hand. Got another hinge, which is connected to just the pack, but the way the hand is molded, it's kind of like a ball pack that's molded into the hand. Even though, like, you could just cut this off and have like just a ball pack to have more articulation, I guess. It wouldn't really do that much. Obviously with this one, again, there's nothing in the torso, but that's completely understandable this time. I don't really know how you would do anything in here without completely destroying the sculpt. And that has been a thing with these Super 7 figures. They don't really want to do anything into the torso. You could say, on one hand, well, it's kind of lazy. On the other hand, the old school stuff didn't have anything like that, so you just staying true to the old. But again, this is the ultimate line. So where's the ultimate articulation? You know, that's up for debate. I don't really know. You got the big hinge in the leg, goes out to the side, goes to the back. Doesn't really rotate, you know, you don't really have a swivel because it's just packed in. You don't have a ball pack or anything connecting this. Then for the knee, you got another hinge. And the way it's molded, it looks good. It sacrifices articulation though because you will never completely straighten out the knee. But again, well, the old one had the knee always bent. So, you know, that's just a thing you have to figure out for yourself. I'm not saying this is awful, but I'm not saying, like, I don't know. I don't want to condemn it, but I don't also want to praise it. So then you have a nice ankle lock on this side and a big hinge that brings it forward and not really that much to the back. Has enough range, but obviously it is blocked by all the stuff that's going on over here. This one moves around a lot more freely. So overall, it is decent. It could be better, but considering the mold and the overall design that they really captured very well, I'm okay with this one. For your accessories, you don't get a lot, but you got the exact same stuff you got with the old one, plus the painted added detailed stuff like the little things you just put into Mutagen Man, you fill up with water, and these kind of float around if you want to do that. I'm not gonna do that, I'm not gonna display that because this is a collector's item which I refuse to fill up with water. Anyway, so here's the painted ones, and they just have one solid color. They don't have any detail painted on, which is a little bit disappointing, but then again, they're so tiny that I'm not really complaining about it. Now, here's the same one in yellow on the weapons rack, which it doesn't have the gun on it, but again, the old one also didn't have the guns. Then you have the gun with some added gold metallic detail on it, which looks pretty cool. It is minimal, but then again, what else are you gonna do? There's a bit of a slip over there. Could have painted the handle gold, that would have been nice. Anyway, that did not, but it looks good. And then you have two-faced hands, and that's really it for your hands. Could have had another one, another set of, like, I don't know, posing hands. And it's gonna bring me to the final thoughts for this Super 7 Mutagen Man. I like this figure. The deeper I go into this line, the more I'm kind of accepting the fact of, like, hey, this line is supposed to replicate this. The old school toys, this is what they're really setting out to do with great molds and great paint jobs. And they're winning at that. The trouble with it is, as usual, the articulation. But with this one, I just don't see anything else. I don't see how they could make this a lot better. Now sure, double hinges, yada yada yada, but really the mold on this one is pretty tricky. With this design, I'm kind of giving him a pass. I'm a little bit giving them a pass on the articulation with this one, just because of how hard it is to do. Also, this kind of elbow joint doesn't really move that much because it's more blocked than the other one. Kind of wanted to mention that because I didn't before. Yeah, anything else, like he has anything the old one had from the weapons, the gimmick of putting stuff into him and filling up with water. You can do all of that if you want to. Can take the tube off, but that's really meh. Don't really care about that. So yes, do recommend this one because it looks cool, and I don't really know how you would fix the articulation here without completely demolishing the skull. And I don't want to see that. I want a good skull. So that's gonna do it, guys. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed this review, hit it up with a like and subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, card game stuff, and whatever Mutagen Man wants. Better joints, but then that would wreck everything else. So again, don't care.